July 3rd, 1988. The USS Vincense powers north towards the Strait of Hormuz to investigate reports of aggressive activity by Iranian gunboats. Now, these same boats have fired on the Vincennes helicopter.
Jesus!
Captain Will Rogers has been in the Gulf for just over a month, but he's already earned a reputation as a commander who's prepared to take decisive action.
Set general quarters.
Officer of the deck, set general quarters.
Meanwhile, 54 miles away at Iran's Bandar Abbas airport, Iran Air Flight 655 is waiting to push back. It's scheduled for a routine 28-minute trip across the Strait of Hormuz to Dubai. 37-year-old Mohsen Razayan is the captain.
On the ground, this is IR-655 standing by for ATC clearance.
He was very enjoying what he was doing. He really liked it. He was logging so many hours, over 10,000 hours of flight.
Request update on status of IR-655.
Captain Razayan's flight is delayed because of a passenger with immigration problems. It's 27 minutes behind schedule, a delay that will prove critical as the day's events unfold. Meanwhile, the USS Vincennes closes to within striking distance of the Iranian Boghammer gunboats. Even though the gunboats have already fired on his ship's helicopter, Captain Rogers only has authority to open fire if he believes his ship itself is under direct threat. And in the Gulf haze, it's hard to see just what the gunboats are up to. Captain Rogers doesn't have to wait for the gunboats to open fire. If they behave aggressively, that's reason enough for him to take the first shot.
Coming inbound fast. 1-350 is inbound.
This is Vincennes. Request permission to engage Boghammer Group.
Captain Richard McKenna, the surface commander for the Gulf, is on board his ship in Bahrain. He immediately grants Rogers permission to engage.
The rules of engagement at that juncture were quite clear, and so there was no question as to what was required at that juncture.
Say again, take Boghammer Group with guns over.
Gulf Sierra, this is Vincennes, opening fire with guns. Assumed hostile track 4456. Vincennes out. You can fire for effect.
It's 9:43 a.m. A routine encounter in the Persian Gulf has become deadly serious. This is the first time the crew of the Vincennes have ever seen action.
It's a 028 now.
Combat was, you know, that was the furthest thing probably from any of us. Even though we were a combat ship, it was one of those things. It's like it'll never happen to us, but yet it did.
The gunboats are returning fire, but their shots are falling short. The two U.S. ships join forces to take them on together. The result, a battle that's fast-moving, with frequent changes of course.
Verify me rounds to the train.
At this point, the Vincennes and the Montgomery are locked in a full-scale sea battle. Anything that approaches them is viewed as a possible threat.
Battery released, 10 rounds, weapons.
Lieutenant Commander Scott Lustig is responsible for alerting the captain to potential airborne threats. He's been tracking an aircraft that suddenly changed course and is now heading toward the Vincennes.
Track number 4472, Iranian P-3, range 62 miles.
They identify the plane as an Iranian P-3 Orion, a long-range maritime surveillance aircraft. Broadcasting over a military frequency, the Vincennes warns the P-3 that it's being tracked. This is standard procedure.
This is a United States Naval warship. Request you state your intentions.
U.S. warship, this is Iranian Papa 3. Our intention is search mission. We keep clear of your unit.
The pilot promises to keep his distance, but Captain Rogers knows the P-3 is still watching him on radar. He's concerned that it could call in an Iranian airstrike.
Yeah, I want rounds in the tray. Give me a firing solution for that northernmost group of bog hammers. Scott, keep me updated on the P-3.
Meanwhile, with all his passengers finally on board, Captain Razayan is ready to depart.
Taxi 5 is open.
Iran Air 655.
On July 3rd, there are 10 civilian flights scheduled from Bandar Abbas. But the Iranian Air Force also uses this airport. And according to U.S. intelligence reports, the recent transfer of F-14 fighters here poses an increased threat.
655 clear for takeoff. Thank you very much. Good day.
Captain Razayan has no way of knowing that Iran Air 655 is heading directly towards a raging sea battle. Within seconds of liftoff, the Vincennes detects Flight 655. But even with a sophisticated radar system, the ship can't determine the exact size or type of aircraft. To determine whether the aircraft is friendly or hostile, Identification Supervisor Anderson uses a system called IFF.
All large aircraft have IFF. They all have identification friend or foe. Every aircraft has its own code, and you're able to look up that code and say, okay, it does give you more information.
Anderson sets out to identify the IFF signal of this incoming track. At the press of a button, an electronic pulse radiates into the atmosphere. And aircraft transponders automatically bounce back an electronic reply, squawking codes that reveal whether an aircraft is friend or foe. Modes 1, 2, and 4 indicate military aircraft. Iran Air 655 has squawked Mode 3.
Everybody has Mode 3. So that alone doesn't identify a non-hostile aircraft. It could be civilian, it could be military.
A military aircraft could conceal its identity by squawking Mode 3. So Anderson consults a commercial air schedule to see if a passenger flight is due to depart from Bandar Abbas at this time. But he finds nothing.
Unidentified Iranian aircraft on course 203, speed 303 knots, altitude 4,000 feet. This is United States naval warship bearing.
Next, the Vincennes tries to contact the plane directly on a military distress
You are
frequency.
approaching United States naval warship in international waters. Request you state your intentions. Over.
But there's no response. The Vincennes has state-of-the-art technology, and yet it doesn't have a radio tuned to civil air traffic control frequencies.
Unidentified aircraft on course 206, speed 316.
Only one option remains. Call the mystery aircraft on the civilian international air distress frequency.
United States naval warship. Request you remain clear.
But there's still no answer from Flight 655. The incoming plane is closing in on the Vincennes at nearly 5 miles a minute. To make matters worse, its IFF signal appears to have changed. The plane is now squawking both Mode 3 and Mode 2, 1100. When Anderson consults his code list, he makes a startling discovery. A plane squawking 1100 could be an Iranian F-14 fighter jet.
All stations IDS, I have a possible Mode 2 on track 4131, 1100, which breaks as an F-14.
Possible Mode 2.
Breaking as an F-14.
I repeat, incoming Mode 2.
Anderson's words spread like wildfire throughout the CIC. The captain's tactical displays now identify this incoming aircraft as an F-14 fighter. Just 29 miles away, Iran Air Flight 655, with 290 passengers, climbs out over the Persian Gulf. They have no idea that they've been misidentified and are on a deadly course.